Dan Stein, President of the Federation for American Immigration Reform.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. My name is Dan Stein. I'm President of the Federation for American Immigration Reform, the nation's largest national immigration reform organization, working to advance what we believe are the priorities of an enlarged view of the national interest in favor of setting immigration levels consistent with both the national need and our domestic agenda, as well as better controlling illegal immigration. We have, as I say, several hundred thousand members across the nation, and we have worked closely to work and develop local organizations to work on this issue in varying degrees of relationship with the organization to try to bring about better understanding of what's needed to better regulate and control illegal immigration. I would like to point out initially that country has a proud tradition of procedural due process and fundamental fairness that respects the dignity of all persons regardless of immigration status. And FAIR supports that tradition and believes that persons residing illegally are still entitled to the constitutionally protected procedural process that is due in whatever given circumstance. However, a person in this country illegally does not have a civil right to remain in this country simply because they have succeeded in avoiding discovery of that status for several years. We strongly support the action of the Prince William County Board of Supervisors this past July to enact Resolution 09609. And although they're not affiliated with FAIR directly, the local Manassas group did a wonderful job in trying to bring public understanding to this issue. And we're proud of the leadership that they showed in the face of very, very challenging emotional issues. Ultimately, illegal immigration is never going to be properly controlled in this country unless there is a full state-federal partnership that enables us to have states operate more as a force multiplier in identifying and holding illegal alien residents until ICE can come and take them. We shouldn't be in this situation, which is really the big problem. I mean, I've been working on this thing, as you know, for some 25, 27 years now. And I watched as organizations litigated both the question of whether or not the census would count people in such a way that would enable states to know how many people were illegally resident in the community. At the same time, I watched these same organizations litigate to try to prevent states from asking basic questions about legal status or checking voting records or anything else. This went on through the 70s and 80s and 90s. States' roles were then essentially diminished as states agreed not to get involved, don't ask, don't tell policies. We had the sanctuary resolutions in 1980, with the effect that at a time when global migration pressures were skyrocketing because of international population growth, states were not players anymore in assisting in the process of regulating immigration. Now, I understand that there's an issue of how much regulation they can do, but in our view, this instant resolution is well within the scope of the state power. And ultimately, we believe states across the country can and will be enacting similar resolutions. But nevertheless, this idea that because we lack certain bits of data, datum, to know certain facts is therefore an argument not to act is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. We don't know because there's been an orchestrated desire not to know in this country. Well, as illegal immigration has skyrocketed, taxpayers are being asked to continue to pay for benefits and services for people with no right to remain in the United States. People are asking to have to compete in an unfair labor market. Now, businesses are part of the big opponents here who want to promote illegal immigration. I know the public advocates seem to be on the left side of the political agenda, but the bottom line is businesses are the primary lobby force in pushing to hire illegal workers. Exploitation, greed, a desire to maximize gain are powerful motivators. And we must recognize that exploitation is exploitation. The civil rights of American workers to a fair labor market are being violated by systematic discrimination in favor of illegal workers precisely because they're present illegally. The interests of these American workers and middle-class families need to be considered as well in this equation. In concluding, I would like to point out, Madam Chairman, that the annual legal immigration rates are now well over 1 million.
400,000 permanent.
No, that's
400,000 permanent legal residents. Only 200,000
out of date. I'll give you a chance to respond.
I've got the
taking
figures,
time
Dan.
out of my time.
Dan, I have the figures.
You've taken 10 seconds of my time. I object.
You're including all categories. I'm talking about legal permanent residents.
When I started working on the issue, the U.S. population was 260 million. It's 300 million today. If we continue on the current track, we could be at 8 billion people by 2100. Do not tell the American people we have a stable population. One of the reasons why people in Prince William are concerned about illegal immigration is housing code violations naturally result when people are breaking the law and living in overcrowded housing. That ripples through the community, through the entire infrastructure. Taxpayers will not stand by idly and let this continue without trying to take action. I hope we can have a reasonable debate, but I think those organizations that engage in name-calling, I didn't use the word xenophiliac or alienist or any other label in this term, but yet heaps of abuse are poured upon poor American citizens that want to try to get something done on this issue. And frankly, I think the American people have basically said, basta.
Mike Hethman. And Mike, you